Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Zenzo with TazawaTanks.com. So there's a lot of you that are new to my channel, a lot of new subscribers recently, a lot of new viewers. So what I thought I would do is just to kind of get everybody up to speed on what I do, what I've got going on, I thought I would kind of do a tour of all of my tanks. I do have a fish room, which I'm in right now. There are 30 tanks down here, and then I have some display tanks upstairs. So what I'll do is show you around and talk about each tank in detail, just so that you can kind of see what I do and what's going on, what's new, what's changing, etc. Before I jump into that, I do want to mention that I do have my Tazawa Tanks t-shirts available on the site, which is TazawaTanks.com. And then there's also a store link, so you can click on the store tab, and that will take you to where the t-shirts are. And then if you want to buy aquarium supplies, fish food, medications, etc., you can click on the little link that's there, and that will redirect you to a site where you can do all your shopping, and that's where I do all my shopping. Before I show you the tanks, I do want to preface that I haven't done any special prep to these tanks. Some of them really shouldn't be shown because there's not a lot going on with them. Some of them might be a little on the dirty side because I haven't done a water change in 3 or 4 days. So anyway, I will just kind of show you what it looks like as it is. I think what I'll do is I'll start upstairs because those tanks are more interesting, the display tanks. Then we'll come back down here and I'll show you the rest down here. Alright, so let's start with a little nano reef tank. For those of you that didn't see this tank being constructed or see my recent shopping experience, I'll put a little link up here as well. But recently I just set up this tank. I got my first coral, so I took you on a little shopping spree of me buying my first coral. Really exciting for me. Anyway, not a whole lot new with this tank other than the coral are getting bigger. So even though I've only had these coral frags in there for a couple of weeks, they're getting bigger already. I did add a little camel shrimp, and I have a little snail in there that's done an amazing job on the algae. I don't remember the name of the snail. And then I also have a little hermit crab in there. So anyway, that's about it for this tank. I have been playing around with some micronutrients and things where I can feed the coral and feed the fish, etc. So tons of fun. More to come on this tank in the future for sure. Alright, next up we have the Planet Tank. This is a 65-gallon tank, similar size as a 40 breeder, so it's 36 inches across, 18 front to back, but it's a lot taller than a 40 breeder. So it does allow a lot of plants to grow really tall in here. So I've got 50 cardinal tetras, I've got a handful of stir-by corydoras, I've got some Apistogramma cockatoides in there, I've got some shrimp in there, I've got some autocinclus in there, snails. So I love this tank, I'm really loving it, I love the setup, I love the plants that I got. I did buy the plants from aquariumcoop.com. I have mentioned that before. This is a high-tech tank. It is CO2. It has high-tech lighting on there. So very, very fun, very enjoyable. Lots of life going on in this tank. Anyway, the only thing that's new with this tank really is I did put some red plants in there. So I'm expecting those to grow. And hopefully those will be looking good in the future. I have been dosing with some Easy Iron. As far as fertilizer, I use Easy Green from Aquarium Co-op, and I also use Easy Iron. So I think the iron is going to really help the reds pop. But anyway, I got the algae under control. Everything's great with this tank. I'm really loving it now. For this portion, I thought I would sit in my favorite chair. This is an easy chair. It's a reclining chair that I have right in front of a couple of my tanks here in the living room. From where I'm sitting, I can actually see all the tanks. So right behind me, we've got the Malawi tank there. We've got the Tanganjikan tank. The Malawi tank is 75 gallons. The Tanganjikan tank is 60 gallons. And then as I spin around, you can see the Planet tank and you can see the Reef tank. So all of my display tanks here in the living room I can see from this chair and enjoy. I can sit here, I can take a nap. Corey from Aquarium Co-op actually fell asleep on this chair one time. Pretty funny. But anyway, right here I've got the Malawi tank. You've seen this tank a bunch of times. I've got my Tanganjikan tank. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just sit here in this chair, kick back, relax, read your comments, respond, answer emails, watch YouTube videos, and just relax. So anyway, if you're wondering where I watch my videos from, for the most part, I like to sit right here in this chair and just kick back and enjoy my fish, enjoy the scenery. Sometimes when I do live streams, I'll sit here in this chair as well and prop up the camera on the coffee table so that these tanks are in the background. I do want to talk briefly about filtration because I get a lot of questions about filters and what I use on this tank because it is overstocked. So in this tank, as I've shared before, I have a canister filter. I have a sump, which does the majority of the work. It's a wet-dry sump with a refugium. I've got a big pothos plant growing in and out of it. And I've got a hang-on-the-back filter. So I've got 3 filters that are working on breaking down the biological waste for the nitrogen cycle. And then I've got some polishing going on with the hang-on-the-back as well. And then in this tank, I just have the canister filter. I have a canister filter on this tank. And then I have a couple of sponge pre-filters on the intake. I've got a sponge pre-filter on the intake of a canister. Then I've got a sponge on a power head. So that does the filtration. So it is raining outside. I'm not going to go outside and show you the aquaponics system. There's not a lot to show you right now because it is winter. It's January right now, and it's it's wintertime, so I don't have a lot of plants growing. I do have some mint in there that I like to make tea with and stuff like that. And it does help to break down the nitrates as far as filtration for the goldfish. This is 120 gallons, 4 feet, 2 feet by 2 feet. I didn't make this. I will put a link of a video up above to kind of give you an update on this system. And then the only other thing I've got going on out here is right back there. That's actually an old converted dog crate that I've opened up and made a grow bed out of. I was growing some vegetables in there, but what I've done is I've churned up all the soil, put some compost in there, and I put 90 earthworms in there. So I'm hoping to propagate and have some earthworms growing in there so that I can use those for live food for some of the fish, most likely Oscar and some of the other cichlids. And as far as the bed, it does drain out below, so the worms won't drown or anything. They'll be just fine in there. One other tank that we do have in the house is we have this little 10-gallon tank. We've done a lot of different fish in here. It's gone through a couple of different scapes. This is my daughter's room. This is her tank. Right now we've got some endlers and guppies in there. They are thriving, they're breeding and multiplying. Some snails. I've got some java fern and moss in there. But anyway, not a whole lot going on with this tank. Eventually, I think I'm going to have to take over this tank. This is actually, I'm in my daughter's room, but she's going off to college pretty soon. So she graduates high school this year. So she's going to be going off to school, keeping her stuff here, some of it, but I'm also going to be converting this room into my office and workstation. And she's not taking this with her. I'm going to be taking care of it. So and there might be some changes in the future with this tank and rescaping and stuff like that. But anyway, this is one of the tanks we have in the house that I care for. Okay, so now we're going into the fish room. I'm going to flip the camera around down here and show you some of the tanks. What I'll do is I'll kind of go in order. So I'll start here with the Mbuna tank and then work all the way around, kind of what's going on with some of these fish. And then we will end up probably with Oscar, or these tubs. I think we'll end up with Oscar, so we'll check him out at the end. So we'll start off with the Mbuna tank. This is a 75-gallon tank, 4 feet wide, 18 front to back. I don't know how many Mbuna are in here, quite a bit. As you can see, I do like kind of doing the overstocking method, just because it does kind of help distribute aggression and kind of keep that in check. But anyway, I've got in here some blue zebras, red top zebras, albinos. I've got, I used to have some yellowtail ACI, but they're gone. I've got some yellow labs in here that are hiding. And let's see, I've got this Aratus here. So, yeah, for the most part, just kind of your typical Mbuna tank. I do like keeping Mbuna. They are very fun to interact with. I love feeding them. I love feeding them vegetables and seaweed, etc. So, tons of personality, a lot of fun with the Mbuna tank. Down below, not a whole lot to see, so this will be real quick. For those of you that don't know, I breed African cichlids, which I'll talk about shortly. And a lot of the fish tanks that I have in here are just tanks to hold fry. So I've got African cichlids in various stages of growth. So here you can see these are some of the smaller ones that I have. And these are all 10-gallon tanks. Everything is run on sponge filters. And down here, there's some more juveniles, but they're hiding, so not a lot to see. As we come over here, more of the same. You can see one of the red coloration there on the peacock really firing up. Some of that is due to the breeding that I did, kind of the selective breeding, which I'll make a video about in the future. And then some of it is the food that I'm feeding. This is just kind of a holding tank that I have. I do use these tanks for breeding. I do have a betta in there right now, and more peacocks growing out as well down here. These will all be for sale. This tank up here is the one that has been getting a lot of buzz lately. Unfortunately, I don't have any fish in it yet, so I am waiting to get some fish shipped to me. I placed an order a week ago. I have not heard from the company that's supposed to ship me the fish. So we're going to see what happens. I have reached out to some other people to see about getting them. This is a 75-gallon tank. This is brackish water, so it's a mixture of fresh water and salt water. I've made a video talking about how I built it. There is kind of a beach area and another pool over here where I have an air stone buried to keep this water fresh as well. This is going to be my mudskipper tank, and a water area that is going to have my brackish water fish. So this is kind of like a paludarium into, you know, kind of a brackish paludarium, I guess. Anyway, I'm super excited to get this thing running, but I don't have the mudskippers. I might end up putting my fish in here first, but I should be getting these soon. I really hope so. So anyway, more to come on this tank. This is the 29-gallon Tanganjikan tank. So I have made a video about this as well. In here I have the Gilidochromis transcriptus, which are conveniently hiding right now so we can't see them. I am going to put some other Tanganjikan fish in here in the future. This is just a bunch of dry rock, some old coral that I had that I created kind of this background. I put some Anubias on it. Really enjoyable tank. 29-gallon tank is a great profile. It's just kind of large-ish. And the fact that it kind of, you know, allows a lot of space to have different types of fish. So I really like this tank size. In the future, I could see myself getting more 29s. Down below, another tank with just a betta in it. Again, I use these for breeding. I use them for quarantining fish. I use them for raising fry. I like to keep bettas in my tanks that don't have anything going on, so that it helps to keep the sponge filter cycled. Obviously, as I feed the fish and the fish, you know, passes its waste, it feeds the bacteria. So that's what I keep the bettas in the empty tanks for. Over here, this is kind of what I call Mbuna row. So I've got a bunch of Mbuna here. Here's some Mbuna fry, and they are kind of shy and hiding. They look yellow, but those white ones are actually albino. And then there's another batch of young fry here. Kind of some medium-sized adolescent juveniles, and some more over here. So these are all fish that I sell or give away, and just lots of Mbuna. I might end up keeping some of these that are in this tank as they grow out, because they might look good in display tank, some of the white ones. Over here, this is actually the oldest tank that I have. This is a 16-gallon bow front. I've had this for several years, and it's gone through all types of decor, from, you know, planted, community, South American. It was an African shell dweller tank at one time. Now it's just kind of like an overflow tank. I've got a bunch of plants in here that I just kind of throw in there just to kind of keep alive for other tanks. There's a couple fish in here. There's a couple catfish. There's a paradise gourami that is conveniently hiding as well right now. Let's see if we can well, I'll come back around and get some B-roll on him. Next door, this is my overflow 20-gallon Tanganjikan tank. So in this tank, I do like to keep some extra shell dwellers. Because my shell dwellers are so popular, because I do sell them, and because they are hard to find for a lot of people, I do want to have a secondary shell dweller tank. In the event that something happens and my main tank crashes, I want to ensure that I continue the generation on by having a separate stock of shell dwellers. So that's why I have these down here. Instead of using shells, I just use PVC elbows, as it is easier to get fry and fish out of these than it is to get them out of shells, which is virtually impossible. Down below, just a bunch more holding tanks. You can see some of those are kind of dirty. I've got to do some gravel vacuuming in there. These are all peacocks, fry, juveniles. a bunch more peacock fry over here in juveniles. Down here I've got one lone female peacock that kind of needs a break right now. And then I've got a bunch of juvenile bettas, and as I've shared before, I put the bettas in individual tanks. I just have some catappa leaves down there just to help give them extra tannins because they like that. Moving on, more peacocks. So again, a ton of African cichlids down here. You might have heard other people joke about when they visit my fish room that it's all African cichlids. Well, there's a lot of them. So there's a bunch of juveniles in here. This is a 20-gallon tank. And then a bunch more juveniles in this one as well. Over here I've got a couple of 40 breeders. This 40 breeder is only housing female peacocks. So when I do breed, I will use these females, and what I will do is I will put a male in this tank. I'll let the male breed with the females, and then I will take the female out. Once I see that she's been holding for a couple of weeks, I will put her in a separate tank, one of those 10-gallon tanks down below, and let her finish holding. And then when she spits the fry, I will then move the female to a separate tank, let her recover, and then raise the fry out separately. And then once the female is well fed, I'll put her back in here so that she can continue to, live in the 40 breeder, and then the male goes back to another tank. Down below, more peacocks. These are all fish that are getting ready to be sold, so these will be going to the store soon. I might take a couple to the auction, but mostly to the store. There is one fish in there that's hiding that I do want to keep for myself. It's kind of a nice OB that's right back there. Showing some nice blues and some nice black finnage. Some of you may have seen the video I made about the $20 tanks that I got from Home Depot. Obviously they're not tanks, they're tubs. These are those storage bins, and I got 2 of them for $20. There's a whole story behind that which I won't get into now, but you can see that video later. I use these corrugated pieces here. These are for like greenhouses and roofs and things like that. I use these for lids. And in here I have a whole lot of African cichlids growing out. If you look down there, you can see all the fish coming up here. There's a bunch of African cichlids in these tubs. So for those of you that have asked if I breed them, how many do I have? Well, these are all full of African cichlids. So there's one there, this one here. You can see down there there's a bunch of fish. It's kind of hard to see with the glare. But when I do water changes, what I'll often do is catch them, take a look at them, inspect them closely before I put them back in a tub. So there's some really good looking ones in here that I'm going to keep some of these and put them in my display tank upstairs. And then obviously some of them will get sold as well. All right, well, we're here at the end. This is Oscar's tank, as I promised you guys. Oscar is kind of my wet pet. There's a story behind him. I rescued him from a customer. He was badly injured. I nursed him back to health. So he's been with me for quite a while now. I do have a pair of Congo tetras in here. I've got a plecostomus. I've got some catfish down here. I've actually got some pretty big catfish. It's kind of hard to see, but there's a giant one back there that's probably like 9 inches long. Big fat Synodontis. But anyway, Oscar's a lot of fun. I've made a lot of videos on Oscars and how interactive they are, how personable they are, how fun they are to feed, how to take care of them. So I will put some links above to share some of those videos with you. But anyway, this tank is a 90-gallon tank. It's 5 feet across, so it's a really nice size. It's an acrylic tank. I actually got this tank for free. There's a story behind that. It was all scratched up. I fixed it, and I'm now using it as Oscar's tank. This is also the tank that I have the Owazu canister filter on, so you might have seen that review. Owazu did send me the heater, so for those of you that saw the video, asked me about the heater for this tank, or not for the tank, but the heater for the canister filter that fits inside. I did receive that, so I'll be playing with that in the near future. I hope you enjoyed the tour of my fish room and the tour of my display tanks upstairs. I would love to read down below in the comments which one was your favorite and which one was your least favorite. So I'm going to guess that some of the display tanks are probably going to be your favorite, and some of the boring ones with nothing but fish in them, bare bottom, are probably your least favorite. But anyway, please comment down below. I would like to know which one was the favorite of the tour. I'm sorry this video was a little bit long, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.